and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Javid Abraham, and I'm lead systems design for agriculture consulting. Today, I have Bill Zanoni from Ceres Greenhouses joining us to share a bit about what his company does and the exciting design inclusions that they integrate into their greenhouses.
Hey there, my name is Bill. As David said, I'm a greenhouse designer at Ceres Greenhouse Solutions. Thank you to Agritexture for having me here today and for putting together the Travel Free Conference series. Over the last couple of days, I spent a little time reviewing some of the videos on the YouTube channel and have been really impressed with everything I've seen. And I hope everybody's staying healthy and safe out there.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for making the time today and for joining us in this conference series. We've been really excited about showcasing various technologies related to controlled environment agriculture. And greenhouses are certainly an important component of that technology landscape. As our audience probably knows, environmental control costs are some of the highest line items for greenhouse management and operational costs. And Ceres Greenhouses specializes in designs that can help reduce those operational costs, which is part of the reason why I'm so excited to have Bill join us today and share with us a bit more about what those specific design inclusions are, as well as the advantages that Ceres Greenhouses can provide to your operation should you decide to go with a greenhouse in your region. So as I said before, greenhouses are extremely important. They provide significant advantages over vertical farms in respect that they take advantage of free sun to illuminate the crop surface, and that helps a lot in reducing the operational costs related to illuminating your farm. So without further ado, I'd like for Bill to share a little bit more with us about what Ceres does, about the impressive features included in their greenhouses, and how that can help operators produce local leafy greens and other crops for markets around the United States and elsewhere.
Oh, wonderful, thank you. Before I jump to the slideshow, I'll just tell you a little bit more about our company. Ceres is a Boulder, Colorado-based greenhouse design company, and we're a team of engineers, designers, scientists, and builders who are focused on the innovative design process and are dedicated to designing the most energy efficient greenhouses in the world. We create sustainable growing environments by combining smart design and innovative technology and dynamic partnerships. Our company is about 10 years old and was founded by Dr. Mark Plinke, who had an interest in growing local food and began to design small residential greenhouses for local residents, like his neighbors, essentially. We've grown a bit since then and are now taking on more large-scale commercial agriculture, commercial cannabis, greenhouses that are modular in nature and with a heavy focus on energy efficiency. I've been following Agritexture for a couple of years now, and I'm really grateful for the work that they do to drive urban agriculture throughout the world. This summer, I had the opportunity to teach a greenhouse design course through one of the Agritexture courses, which was a really cool experience to me. During that course, we did a tour of a vertical farm that was incredible. I can't remember the name of it, but it was in the basement below a restaurant, and it was just this really fascinating spot. And in following the Instagram account of Agritexture and things, like, I've noticed that, you guys are my pulse on the urban ag world, and I just noticed that there's so much emphasis placed on this indoor vertical growing under artificial lighting. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to make the pitch per se for greenhouses in urban agriculture, because there are many amazing benefits to growing under the free energy of the sun. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my slideshow here and talk about our greenhouses. So greenhouses harness the power of the sun, and as David mentioned, there are many advantages growing in the sun. The biggest one is that it's free. It's free light, it's free heat, and when harnessed in the right way, it can provide a very energy efficient way to grow crops indoors. The sun also provides full spectrum light that is very beneficial to plants and is more intense than artificial light. Our goal at Ceres is to capture and harness the free and widely available light and heat of the sun and use it in the most efficient way possible. One of the problems with greenhouses is that they inherently are inefficient because of using large glazing surfaces. They lose heat and they gain heat. So they cost a lot to operate. They can cost a lot to operate in terms of trying to keep them, if you're trying to grow year round, depending on where you're located, you know, in order to keep those crop temperatures, the ideal temperatures, stable. Traditional greenhouses are problematic. We take a different approach. And essentially, we combine innovative design with high performance materials and systems to create high performance, energy efficient year-round greenhouses. Some of the ways we do this are very simple, some are more complex. The simplest design facet that we use is just orienting the building properly. Traditionally, many greenhouses are orientated in a north-south orientation with full glazed roofs. We orient directly to the south, or with a little emphasis on the southeast if possible, in order to capture the full, the full potential of the sun. You can see in this image that we specialize in an offset gable design, which with an elongated south roof that is glazed and an insulated north roof. This design allows us to harvest the most light possible in the winter and to keep out the most problematic sun in the summer. We also use high performance glazing materials only where they're needed. Traditional greenhouses, there's glazing everywhere, north, south, east, and west. We only put glazing where we need direct solar gain, and we only use high performance materials, whether it's ETFE, acrylic, or polycarbonate. Anywhere else, we're insulating with highly insulated metal insulated panels, insulated metal panels, we call them IMPs. And those, depending on the location where the greenhouse is going to be located, they can range anywhere from an R value of 16 up to 40. One of the main features of the offset gable design is the ability to harvest a maximum amount of light, and both by allowing maximum light gain in the winter and by cutting off intense higher up sun in the summer, we're able to help make sure the plants get what they need year round. And also through interior materials and shape, we're able to bounce diffuse light through the building in a very efficient manner. Traditionally, or a Ceres greenhouse allows for up to 50 to 80% more sunlight reaching the plants than a traditional greenhouse. And that is a huge benefit.
Wow.
What really sets our designs apart is our climate control systems for both vented and sealed greenhouses, both of which can be controlled by smart controllers that are programmed to maintain interior temperatures, temperatures and humidity levels that are up to the client's specifications. This is a shot of a ground air heat transfer system. We've been designing these systems since the inception of Ceres, and they're basically air heating and cooling systems that take advantage of excess heat in the greenhouse. So for example, let's say the greenhouse set temperature is at 70 degrees. Anytime that temperature will go above 70, the gap fans will turn on, they'll pull that hot air down underground, and the mass of the earth will cool that air. It actually will absorb that heat and then bring out exhaust cooler on the other side. So you're not only maintaining a cooler temperature in the greenhouse, you're also storing that heat in the climate battery below ground that you can pull up for later use for heating. And this system works both diurnally and seasonally in terms of the climate battery. And you can see here on the left, it not only works in the summer, but also in the winter, cools and heats. It's definitely not a standalone heating and cooling system. It can't do everything, but depending on the crop, depending on the greenhouse, this is a really amazing way to balance interior greenhouse temperatures in a pretty low cost manner. It's actually a very simple system, and we love these at Ceres.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
These are traditionally, or these are much better. They work with vented greenhouses. When we move to sealed greenhouses, we have a system called an eco-loop, and the eco-loop is a more sophisticated geothermal HVAC system that is optimized for these sealed greenhouses. like the GAT, the EcoLoop uses the mass of the Earth and its steady temperature to stabilize the climate within the greenhouse. The EcoLoop allows for very precise temperature and humidity control through the use of ground loops and heat pumps. With the EcoLoop, we can also collect and reuse condensate that forms during the cooling process.
Oh, wow.
These are systems that we're using mostly in large cannabis greenhouses, but we'll be using them more in urban ag, food greenhouses as well. So the end result of the efficient design, high performance materials, and smart systems is balanced temperatures. This is a shot from a greenhouse in Ottawa. It's a 30 by 70, one of our high yield greenhouses. And you can see here, we're looking at the month of December, and up to temperatures down to 12 degrees Fahrenheit, the greenhouse temperatures are staying fairly consistent and matching the client's desired temps. I believe there is a small supplemental heater in this greenhouse, but it's mostly powered by the GAT system. The bottom line, efficiency measures lead to, please leave. Sorry. That out. What's going to happen about 5 or 6 more times, I guarantee. So the end result is our clients are able to maintain the growing conditions that their plants need by using less fossil fuels to heat, cool, and provide light, and in turn spend less money to operate. We have found that our greenhouses are about 250 to 300, 220 to 300 times more efficient than traditional conventional greenhouses.
Wow.
Neva, you have to leave. Yes. I don't know, but I'm in an interview right now. You have to leave. Yeah. Sorry. Hopefully these are good.
No, that's okay. No, that's great.
Oh my God.
It's the reality of
yeah, I mean, I love it. I love seeing when people's kids come in and stuff. But
absolutely, no,
not ideal. Yeah. So anyway, so in closing, I believe there's a big place for energy efficient greenhouses in the urban agriculture realm. I'm based in Ceres is based in Colorado. I'm based in Montana. The term urban can take on many different meanings. Downtown Livingston, Montana, where I live, is much different than downtown New York City, downtown Manhattan. But still, the same principles I think apply, and that's that local food matters. Urban ag comes in many shapes and sizes, from indoor vertical farms located in the basements of restaurants to community gardens. Food that is grown locally is more sustainable, tastes better, can be more nutrient rich, and has a story that community members can take pride in. Local food has the power to build communities, and at Ceres we believe that high performance energy efficient greenhouses that use less of the Earth's precious resources to operate can play an integral role in the urban agricultural movement. Urban greenhouses can be visible and accessible to the community. They can be paired with outdoor community gardens and act as neighborhood hubs of engagement. They can also act as science classrooms. Greenhouses can be very engaging, can show students not only how to learn about plant physiology, engineering, and business, but also how to grow food. And in this time of the COVID crisis, I think we're all being reminded not only how precious life is, but about how much we rely on systems that are not fail-proof. And learning to grow food, teaching community members and children to grow food and to see that happening, I think is incredibly enriching and really important physically and mentally. And it gives us that independence that we desire. So what we hope to see at Ceres is many more greenhouses integrated into cities, into towns, into neighborhoods. And yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Bill. That was a fantastic presentation, and we really appreciate the work you guys are doing in designing better and better greenhouses that are going to meet the needs of these populations, and bring down that cost of local leafy greens. So that's really exciting work. And I do have a couple questions for you.
Yeah. Awesome.
About the presentation. You mentioned two of these kind of climate battery systems that you guys use. I believe one was the GAT system and the other was the EcoLoop system.
Correct.
It seems like both of those kind of operate off of similar principles in that they use the Earth as a climate battery for to facilitate energy exchange between the greenhouse and the kind of thermal mass of the Earth. Can you get into a little bit why a user would go with one system over the other and what the differences are there?
Yeah, so the GAT system is a very simple system, and it uses air. So typically, the materials are simpler. It's easy to install. We design these systems from anywhere from anybody that has like a 10 by 10 backyard greenhouse to we have them in large 30 or 60 by 100 type greenhouses kind of thing. It's a lower cost system, and it is more efficient in a vented greenhouse where we're exchanging the indoor and outdoor air basically. The EcoLoop system is more of a traditional geothermal system. It utilizes heat pumps, and it utilizes, we use horizontal fields, basically ground loops that we're running a fluid in there as opposed to air. And it's a much more efficient system, and it gives us a much more detailed control of not only temperature, but also humidity. And these systems are, as I mentioned, they're traditionally, or not even traditional systems, but they're typically used in commercial cannabis, where we're really trying to dial in that precise growing temperature. They're more expensive, but they're incredibly efficient and effective.
That's great. So it sounds like it's a scale consideration. If you're operating a smaller greenhouse, maybe the GAT system would be better for you. Whereas if you're operating a larger system, where the reduction of cost is a huge matter of importance to you,
right?
Then you'd probably go with the EcoLoop system and take advantage of the energy transfer through a liquid medium such as water, as opposed to the GAT system, which would use air as that energy transfer mechanism, which
correct
would be less efficient, I guess.
Yeah, and it's also important to note that the GAT system it can take care of many of your heating and cooling needs for most of the year, depending on your location. It's made more as a supplementary system, but is also very effective. The EcoLoop that's your system. That's your heat pumps. It's your heating and your cooling system. It's more of it's an HVAC system.
I see. So with the EcoLoop system, a user wouldn't need overhead heaters. They wouldn't need underbench heating systems or anything like that.
Correct.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's really great to know that you guys can offer something like that. And to boot, it would take advantage of regional geothermal resources, which do vary by region. But where you guys are located, especially in Boulder, Montana, there's tons of geothermal resources that you can readily tap into. They're pretty close to the surface, and hopefully you wouldn't need too many wells to get the volume of water flow from the greenhouse to the aquifer.
Right, and the way that we actually use, instead of going with a deep well, it's a horizontal, so it's basically contained within the foundation of the structure.
Oh wow! Okay, all right, very good.
Yeah.
So of the clients that you guys have served in the past, what do you think the breakdown would be between the cannabis industry, the food industry, and in the subset of the food industry, what do your clients grow most of using your greenhouses?
We started as a food, primarily with food clients, and in the last few years, we've gotten more involved with cannabis clients. I would say that at this point, we are probably, I would say 50-50, but I think we're a little heavier with food clients. And traditionally, with our smaller structures, homeowners, people are growing everything in their greenhouses. They're attached to their houses, or they're, standalone in their yard. They're growing, just their vegetables, basically. For more commercial operations, we're seeing mostly greens, I would say. We've got a couple of great examples. The Canadian project I just showed you. We have another great project in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. I would say primarily it's clients that are growing greens.
Okay, very good. So given that a lot of your clients are growing greens, and that they may be producing them in regions with less than optimal light. So when it comes to supplemental lighting, do you guys have a preferred lighting vendor, or How does that work in as you service clients that may need additional light?
Yes, we do. Well, like I did mention, that's one of the benefits of our design is that we are able to harvest more light. So we will need less artificial light, but you're totally correct that, in certain locations, in order to go around, you're going to need to add lighting. We have a couple different lighting companies. I'm not a lighting expert, so I may have to send you that information. California Lightworks is one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, we have relationships with vendors and can connect clients to them. We're also open to working with clients, different lighting companies that they bring to the table as well.
Excellent. That's good to know. So if a client comes to you guys and is really interested in using one of your greenhouse structures, how does that relationship work? Do you guys, will you start the project planning from day one, or is there a certain preferred level of kind of business development that you prefer the clients to be at before they talk to you guys?
It's a good question. We talk to all different types of clients of all different experience levels, and also, at different parts in their time, uh, points in their timeline of beginning their businesses and whatnot. Obviously, to us, we want to be involved as early in the process as possible, because if there's any design changes that need to be made, it's much easier to do that stuff in the beginning than to, as we're down, we have the design completed or close, and then all of a sudden there's changes to be made. So we like to be working with our clients as early as possible. In terms of how developed a client's business plan is, we're not that involved in the business plans. We're the designers of the structures, and we provide the materials, architectural drawings, engineering, mechanical engineering, things like that. So we're not as involved in the business component of it as just the structure as being part of the business. But I will say that we are actively involved in all of our clients' businesses at some point. Once they start growing, we work with our clients to make sure that their greenhouse is working and that it maintains the type of environment that they need to have in order to be successful.
And I'm sure that's the paramount consideration for a lot of growers when it comes to whether their structures are, performing or not. Is it keeping things in range? And that's great to hear that you guys kind of maintain those relationships to make sure that that is happening for your clients. And if it's happening in a more energy efficient way than incumbent greenhouses on the market, that's just better for the industry. So I guess for my final question is, where do you envision this industry moving forward in the future, and how do you envision Ceres playing a role in that industry?
It's an awesome question. From our perspective, greenhouses are gaining popularity. The local food movement is definitely picking up steam. And it's kind of tough to say what's going to happen after the pandemic kind of cools off a little bit, because from what I've seen, people are more and more excited about growing food right now. They see the urgency to, there's definite food insecurity out there, and people want to be able to provide their own food. And I'm hoping that we learn an important lesson from this, and it allows the industry to move forward. I would love to see everybody have a greenhouse. I want to see greenhouses in towns that are supporting not only individuals, but schools and hospitals. And I think that we are really well situated to play a very pivotal role in that. In our opinion, we make the best greenhouses around, and the systems and the technology and the design features that we have developed, they can be applied to different style greenhouses as well. Whether it's a more decorative greenhouse for down in an urban area, or I don't know. We know we are experts in greenhouses and how they work, and we want to apply our technology in all areas that we can.
That's great. And I'm sure that's going to be very important for metropolitan areas as they expand and more consumers within those areas demand higher quality local produce. And better greenhouse design, more efficient greenhouse design is going to help operators to improve their margins and become more sustainable businesses.
Yeah.
So we're looking forward to seeing more Ceres greenhouses and a world where we can all access local leafy greens from systems like Ceres and other CEA systems. So thank you very much, Bill. That was a really interesting presentation. That was really helpful. Once again, I'm Javid Abraham from Agritecture Consulting. Our guest today is Bill Zanoni from Ceres Greenhouses. They are located in Boulder. Bill is located on Montana, and if any of our listeners are interested in doing either a smaller backyard greenhouse or a larger community greenhouse or a greenhouse for your private company, please feel free to reach out to Bill. They have some really interesting designs that have proven market history and will help you reduce the operational costs related to environmental controls. So thank you very much, Bill. We really appreciate your time today. Would you like to provide any closing statements to our audience?
Thank you so much, David. That was really fun. Yeah, please, everybody, come visit our website, ceresgs.com. Follow us on Instagram, and yeah, feel free to reach out. We hope to talk to each and every one of you.
Thank you very much, Bill. Appreciate it.
All right.